I am making this video just because I need to vent. I think what Activision has done with Season 3 is insanity, and I just wanted to get out there my opinion on it and see if anyone thinks the same kind of thing. Now, this is probably not what you were thinking or what you were going into. As far as the content in Season 3, Rebirth Island, the new maps, new weapons, I've actually been enjoying that. But what I am talking about here is the cinematic. You see, let me explain this a little bit. When Season 3 was officially revealed, we saw this trailer of Rebirth Island that was essentially showing off the return of Vladimir Makarov. Because if you didn't already know, at the very end of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign, we are left with a giant cliffhanger. Makarov comes in, shoots Soap McTavish in the head, kills him, and runs off in the distance, never to be seen again. We don't know where he went, what he is doing, what he is planning, or anything in between. And when we saw him return in that kind of cutscene for Rebirth Island, I'm like, okay, here we go. We're going to see what he's doing on Rebirth Island, what he has planned, and what is going to go on moving forward. And I assumed, because this is what we're used to at this point, in the Season 3 cinematic, that is when we were going to get more of that story. And the reason why I thought that is because if we go back to Modern Warfare 2019, every single season that came out, we were introduced more and more to Task Force 141, the story behind Verdansk, and it put forth a story of this universe moving forward. This was then amplified in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War when we kind of got the story of Stitch and Russell Adler and what Stitch had planned with the numbers sequence and Rebirth Island and Verdansk and everything going on between all of these locations. It put together a story. So when we were left with a cliffhanger at the end of Modern Warfare 3, I just assumed that we were going to get some answers come the post-campaign cutscenes via every single season that came out. And we started to get that way back in Season 1 when Nolan was able to escape, and they kind of gave us his backstory and how he believes in Makarov and works with him and how that was going to go moving forward. Then the Season 2 cinematic came out, and with that, there really wasn't much story. It was very much so focused on Ghost, and I was like, okay, maybe they're building up something between Ghost and Makarov. Then we got the Season 3 Rebirth Island trailer where Makarov was returning, and I was hyped. And then the cinematic comes out for Season 3, and what is it? It's nothing of the sorts. In fact, it was a cutscene designed to show off all of the different bundles that would be coming out within Season 3. We see various different skins, character skins. We see the several different maps. This was not a cinematic. What this was a promotional trailer for the bundles that would be coming out for the rest of the season. Now, let me get this out there. I have nothing wrong with what Call of Duty does with bundles. In my opinion, it is better than supply drops. Personally, I don't buy them. Yes, some people say that they break realism and people don't enjoy them that way. But honestly, I don't care. But what I do care about is when all of those microtransactions and everything that they are putting in and adding to the game starts to take away from the story. And yes, you could say that these ridiculous bundles that they put in, Nicki Minaj being added into the game, yes, that takes away from the story. But that's not what I'm talking about. There can be ridiculousness, over-the-top things added, and them still release cutscenes explaining where these main characters, the predominant antagonist within the game, what is he doing moving forward? But instead, we get a cutscene that is showing off essentially promotional material for what is coming in bundles. They are trying to sell us things instead of promote a story and promote a game and expand the universe like we have seen year after year in years past. And yes, maybe it's because what I have expected at this point of every single season is the story to be expanded and added onto. But honestly, this is freaking ridiculous. Now, it's clear at this point that Call of Duty has commitment issues. If you haven't heard any of the news that has come out over the past couple of days, first of all, there was some news released about DMZ. If you were a fan of DMZ, that mode is essentially canceled at this point. Nobody is working on it. And the reason for that is because Infinity Ward was working on it, developed it, but then at some point they got tasked with making their next game. Not Modern Warfare 3, but the next one. Most presumably it's probably Modern Warfare 4, but they are set working on that now. So all of their staff got put on that project, taken off of DMZ, and there was no studio to take over what they were doing on that game mode. It was kind of left abandoned and left to the wayside. And honestly, I think DMZ could have been the next big thing in Call of Duty if it was supported, if it was updated, if it was added to. I liked that mode, but the support just wasn't there for it. Fast forward to Modern Warfare 3, we have this other amazing third mode, which is Modern Warfare Zombies. I think Modern Warfare Zombies is a really good mode. It is different than your traditional round-based zombies, and it's cool. It's an extraction shooter meets zombies. And again, if this was supported in the way that it should be, then we would have this amazing game mode that you could change up, add maps to, create variants, maybe make it a little bit more of a looter shooter as opposed to just a new game every time you hop in. If you've played Zombies, you kind of know what I mean by that. But again, the support gets pulled for it because if you didn't know, Treyarch was working on this game mode and they got pulled off of this game mode to make their next game that's coming out next year, which is Black Ops Gulf War. And they say that they got pulled off of it specifically to work on the zombies for that game, as they should. It's their game coming out next year. It obviously needs to be worked on. I'm fine with that, but who is left to take over? Sledgehammer Games is put onto this. And assumably from what we have seen, I'm guessing that all of the cutscenes, the story, and most of the content that is set to come out for the rest of the year for Modern Warfare Zombies is already done, and it's just Sledgehammer's job to release it. But as a whole, it just gets abandoned. And what we get instead is this bullshit cutscene that is just to sell us microtransaction and has no focus on the story whatsoever. And what makes me so angry about this is that they left us off on a cliffhanger waiting to see what was going to happen with Makarov. And we all assumed that in these seasons, we were going to get information on Makarov. Where is he and what is going on with Task Force 141? And instead, what we get is just this bull about what we are getting in bundles and has nothing to do with the overarching story or story as a whole of Call of Duty. I remember back in the day when Warzone first came out, every 2 weeks they would put intel on the maps hidden so that you could go find it and find out the next piece of the Verdansk story. And when we put them all together, we got more and more information as to what was going on in Verdansk. And then each season, we got a cutscene, a cinematic, essentially a mini movie that showed us what was going on with the Task Force 141 characters, Shadow Company, and Verdansk as a whole. Now, what do we get? We get a scary rabbit. As you guys know, I focus very hard on the story of Call of Duty, but it is very difficult for me to even give a crap when the stuff that they are putting out is just to sell things and to pad their pocket. Honestly, when we were getting more and more story with Verdansk every single week, it made it so that I was invested in that map. And I think it's one of the reasons why everyone wants Verdansk back. There was a story with it. There was a world built around that map. Whereas now there is just a map with a bunch of different crazy character skins on it. And that is it. They just want us to buy more battle pass, spend more money. There is no actual care into the story whatsoever. And just to play devil's advocate, because I will get this out there, those cinematic cutscenes that they make where the characters are talking and things are going on are expensive. Very expensive. Like millions of dollars expensive for like 30 seconds to a minute cutscene. So I get why they wouldn't spend money on that and they would just make this kind of in-game cutscene of all of the skins. But let's be honest, I think it was a huge disappointment for everyone that was expecting at least a little addition to the story. That's all I got to say. I'm literally at a loss on this one, and it's very rare that I get that frustrated with Call of Duty or Activision. But today was just one of those days. So yeah. Let me know if you agree, what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed the rant, hit that like button, subscribe, and I guess until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're